Welcome to In the Loop podcast, a podcast that is inspired by the Western culture and the rodeo industry. I am your host, Jordan Joe Hullabaugh, professional rodeo athlete, business owner, married to my best friend, full-time cowgirl, and I am blessed to get to do what I love to do each and every day. My goal is to promote this industry and specifically the sport of breakaway roping. On In the Loop podcast, we are bringing you behind the scenes stories of what real life looks like every day from cowgirls, cowboys, industry producers, leaders, trailblazers, you name it, we talk about it. We are sharing stories of this Western culture and the lifestyle that they live daily. Join me as we share these stories of the amazing triumphs, trials, and victories, defining moments that we all have along this journey of the amazing way of life that we live. You are officially in the loop. Let's get to it. Okay, guys, so today I am very, very excited. I have some super great guests on the show today that are involved with the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo Committee. They have taken their time out of their day, which is crazy right now because literally Fort Worth is going on and they're running around. We were all just kind of laughing about how we're a little bit crazy in some different ways. But I have here with me today Lauren Lovelace Murray, who is in charge of she is officially the horse show director. And I have Cal White with me, who is the rodeo director. So Lauren and Cal, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So I obviously am biased to Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo because I live right here and I love Fort Worth. And I mean, who doesn't love the stockyards and Fort Worth and the history and all things that come with Fort Worth Rodeo? I feel like that really kind of kicks our year off, and breakaway roping especially, because Fort Worth is one of the first places that gave breakaway roping a chance to be a part of a rodeo and everything in general. And Lauren, so I kind of want to talk to you a little bit about that first, because in 2015, I was going back, I was telling you earlier, I had to go back and find my first video that I got to rope at the Fort Worth Invitational Breakaway at the John Justin Arena. So tell me kind of how that evolved and where that came from, kind of getting breakaway on the platform at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo.
Sure. So we kind of were trying to brainstorm some ideas around here of how we could kind of get our foot in the door a little deeper in some of the roping events. And of course, we knew breakaway was one of the up and coming events. And so we created an invitational women's breakaway roping to be held during our timed event challenges that we have each year. We really wanted to host a premier breakaway event that could hopefully grow into something farther in the future. At that point in time, our rodeo was still in the Will Rogers Coliseum, and we had the Justin Arena to use for events as well. And so we kind of were space locked on things. So we kind of got with the WPRA, and Patty McCutcheon was the roping director then, and just threw the idea out there as, could we partner with them on an invitational event? So what we do is we would invite 50 competitors, and then we would invite the top 5 from the WPRA each year to come and compete here. And our jackpot ended up being, over $20,000 payout. And we were just really excited to get it in here. And ultimately our goal was to get it to the rodeo. But we started out trying to get it at least our foot in the door and establish relationships and build trust and rapport with our exhibitors. And I think we were able to do that. So whenever Dickies did open, we were able to just smoothly transition into having the breakaway roping part of our regular rodeo production each event or each performance.
Well, and I know that there's so many prestigious events that are in Fort Worth, and this obviously being one of them. But I know in 2015, the stages were not nearly that big that we got the opportunity to rope on. And so that was just like butterflies in your stomach. I can still feel like what it felt like riding through the back of the John Justin,
Sure.
They were having the normal horse show. It is one of the biggest events in this area around this time of year. Everybody wants to come to the horse show. My husband is partial. I think he goes because he likes to go and eat the cinnamon roll with the pink icing. Like that's what he looks forward to every year. But yeah, it's a prestigious event, and to give us the opportunity to be there was huge. And I know one of the biggest things that we saw up and coming in our sport. And you talk a little bit about the trust and the rapport that was built. expand on that a
Sure.
little bit more, because I understand from a committee standpoint, you're looking at this like, hey, is Breakaway gonna be around? Is this like a fluke deal? Is this gonna like here to stay? And so you guys created that to where, like you said, it was a seamless transition into the rodeo.
Sure. Yeah, we were just really trying to figure out the right steps to where we could all know all the players, all have relationships, all be ready to go whenever the opportunity arises for us to get the breakaway into our rodeo. And I think with the 5 years that we did the invitational really showed that we were committed and invested, and that Fort Worth wanted to grow the breakaway roping. And if we, got to the point where we could be in the rodeo, we would. And that's what we tried to talk to with everybody about every year, was that it was very important to us. And by proving what we did for the 5 years before the rodeo event was available, I think that's really where it, like I said, it just seamlessly came into place, and we were able to really just jump forward with it.
Yeah, and I love too. I go back. I made the finals in 2020, and Fort Worth was
Mhm.
a place that really helped me to solidify my spot there. I will never forget roping for this. Everything was the same for us ladies as it was for the guys, and
Right.
and that's a really big important thing
Sure.
as a breakaway roper too. And very appreciative of you guys as a committee for giving us that equal opportunity right off the bat. And I know that is so strong in your roots and in the character of everybody on this committee. So Cal, I want to ask you a little bit about that and pull you in here. You're the rodeo director here. What did it look like bringing Breakaway in as an equal added event with everybody else, as far as the production wise, added money wise? Like, what was the decision on the committee to be like, hey, we're putting this in the rodeo?
Well, we just recognized an opportunity. Obviously, Breakaway had kind of started making its way into professional rodeo, and we'd heard grumblings about, Breakaway being added to certain pro rodeos. And we just recognized that it was an up and coming event. It was another ladies' event. It was fast. All of the ladies that we had worked with in the past were always very great to work with, very respectful, and just always, very accommodating. Anything that we asked of them, they were always, of y'all. Um, they were always willing to go the extra mile. And so, obviously, whenever we added Breakaway, it was when we transitioned over into Dickies Arena in 2020. We were reformatting our rodeo to a tournament style rodeo. We recognized the need to do that for a variety of reasons. And then when we just started discussing the breakaway roping, it was kind of in its infancy. And as far as being added to pro rodeo anyway, it'd been around forever. Pro rodeo, but it was a professional women's event, but adding
Right.
it to our rodeo. And so we just recognized an opportunity, and we knew it would be a hit. And of course, we're not going to add an event without adding equal money. So that's just fair. Y'all are coming in to compete just like the rest of the contestants, and we feel very strongly that if you add breakaway to any event, including the national finals rodeo, that it should be added at equal money.
Well, and I love that. And I appreciate that standpoint from the committee. One of the things, I was talking to Josh Hambone Hilton earlier, and he said, we really lose sight of the committees are what makes it possible for us to be able to rodeo, to go and commit at these events and be there and have the rodeo to approve it and all the things. Like, you guys are our foundation. And so that's kind of really one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast.
You really can't have one without the other. So I appreciate Hambone's statement about the committees need more appreciation and so on and so forth. But it just in our reformatting of our rodeo and just in general discussion, we can't have a rodeo without contestants. We can't have rodeos without attendees. So there's really a trifecta. We can't have rodeos without the volunteers, and we can't have rodeos without, a variety of things. So it really takes everybody in the business. It's not just the committee. It's not just the contestant. It takes a village, and we say that a lot around here, and that's in every aspect of our show: the horse show, livestock show, rodeo, all the way across the board. So I can understand what Hambone's saying, and we appreciate the recognition, but the contestants deserve just as much as recognition as well as the volunteers and also our guests that buy tickets and show up to watch, and sponsors.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many hands in the basket at all aspects. We wouldn't be anything without our sponsors, without the contestants, there's so many moving parts and pieces to it. And that's another thing that I love about Fort Worth. Like you said, it's a village. So Lauren, talk a little bit about what the village looks like at Fort Worth and kind of how the process goes to make the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo happen.
Sure. So we have about a little over 20 full-time staff that work year round here. But during the show, we bring in about 1,800 volunteers and about 900 short-term employees. So it really changes from the off season to when we're full-fledged running to get all of this accomplished. In my horse show events, I have a variety of different people that come in and help with different things depending on what event we're working on. And, we from stock contractors, volunteers, scribes, tabulation, all that thing, which is, they have at the rodeo too in a different area. But, it's all of those people working together. And then it's like Hal was saying, the volunteers, we have a huge volunteer base that really, really makes a lot of this possible for this, 23-day run.
And that's incredible. Talk a little bit about the 23-day run. I know you guys start. One of my good friends, Misty Wright, she just came off of doing a special needs show for these young men and women that get to do that. That kind of kicks off Fort Worth. You guys have so many different events. So talk a little bit about all the different events that not just rodeo and the horse show.
So actually, I say 23. We're 23 official days. Our horse show does start a few days earlier, and we start with our Equestrians Disability Show. It's called Chisholm Challenge. We have 3 days. 1 day is AQHA approved. We have been the largest equestrian disability show that's AQHA approved for the last several years. And we do 3 days of events with those special needs individuals, and some are veterans, some are children, some are adults. So we have a whole variety, and it really kicks off the show on the horse show side of things. So we do that first, and then we turn into a whole ranching heritage weekend, the first weekend, which is we have AQHA versatility shows. We have our ranch rodeo, 2 nights of ranch rodeo that Cal produces. We have 3 horse sales that weekend. We have cow work classes. We have lots of ranch type classes that weekend. And then we roll into this next week that we're starting with now and ending up with some reining. We'll go into a miniature horse show, a donkey and mule show, 2 performance of a Mustang Magic event. Then, of course, we have our horse show roping events. We'll have a big Texas paint horse show. The next week we'll do barrels and poles. We'll have a quarter horse show. We do a collegiate ranch horse at the end. So we just kind of have a wide variety in this
And then you sleep. Is that when you sleep after or no?
Yeah, we'll sleep when we're dead, right? Yeah, no. So that's the beauty of being a livestock show, is that we can do a variety of events, and that's just the horse show side. That's not even the livestock show side. They have a junior show and an open show with over 30,000 exhibitor or entries each year. They have rabbits, they have pigeons, they have all sorts of things. And then we also have a carnival midway, tons of shopping. There's a lot going on here besides, Cal and Cal's little rodeo and my little horse show. We just have a lot. We have a lot of things. We have a little things going on besides just the 2 of us. What we're in charge of. And we've also added even more music entertainment lineups this year. Our auditorium has a new music lineup that's pretty impressive for us getting our foot in the door with some of that too. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun out here.
It's just rich in history and the environment, the atmosphere. It really does. It just kicks off 2024 and every year. It's like every year I look forward to the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. Cal, I want to talk to you a little bit about the transition. A little earlier you talked about, evolving from the original arena into the Dickies Arena now, which looks really, really similar, but it was different. So that was a little bit of a change and a challenge. And then also navigating the new format. So as I've been a contestant as well as behind the scenes, something that we're always evolving. Everything is always changing. And I love that, but it's also a challenge in our industry. Change is hard for people. So how do you navigate some of that as the rodeo director and continuing evolving the rodeo, the sport, and all the things, and then having a great production as well?
Well, obviously we're 127 years old this year in Fort Worth, and that's quite a long run for a rodeo and livestock show. So we are tasked with maintaining tradition, and that's a big goal of ours, to maintain that tradition, to offer that, that culture, that bring, that old rodeo feel and old livestock show feel, keep that spirit alive. But we also realize that the rodeo fan profile is changing with each passing year, and really looks a lot different than it did, 50 years ago, 25 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. And so we recognized that we had to bring in more technology and more additional camera angles to increase the entertainment value. And so, obviously we had the good fortune of Mr. Bass being our chairman, and him really getting behind this initiative to build a new arena for the city of Fort Worth. Obviously, that is not just for rodeo, but was built with rodeo in mind. Dickies Arena was just voted the #1 venue in the world with seating capacity of 10,001 to 15,000 seats, voted by Billboard Magazine, which is a huge deal. So they have concerts and a variety of other events that come in and out of this arena. So it's great for the economic impact of the city of Fort Worth. But as I mentioned, Mr. Bass is our chairman. He also got behind the initiative to build this arena and built it with rodeo in mind. So really, it's a very unique venue. I'm not aware of another venue that was designed with rodeo being
in mind.
With the anchor tenant as a rodeo. But here at Dickies Arena, it is. And we're very, very fortunate to have this beautiful facility with, the beautiful architecture, the Texas native plants and grasses out in the landscaping beds. All of the, we have 20 different cameras here during the rodeo. We have the second largest contiguous center hung screen hanging in the center of the arena, and just a variety of resources. Staff, the security personnel, and the staff of Dickies Arena have really made our transition just phenomenal. I think that you could probably attest to this, but between our volunteers and the security personnel here at Dickies Arena, when you arrive, you feel welcome. You have people greeting you, talking to you, helping you. And we're very, very proud of that. We're very proud that, and we actually talk about that to our volunteers, that they're our first line of offense when our guests and our contestants show up here on site, because they're the first interaction. They are the first interaction that you guys have when y'all show up, you gals and guys. And so it can really make or break the initial visit to the venue. And so if they have a bad experience when they show up and they've got somebody that's rude to them, y'all have somebody that's rude to them, then it can just make your whole visit here that much worse. And so we want to start it off on a good foot. And so we're really proud and very pleased that we're able to move into Dickies Arena. Obviously, the format changed. We moved to a tournament style format, which for us in our we viewed it as an easier way to help our fans understand what is going on in the arena. In our previous format, we had 36 performances of rodeo, and at times we would have rounds on top of rounds, and contestants would be competing in round 2. Some contestants be competing in round 3, and it was just very difficult to follow and track the standings as we moved along. In this new tournament style format, contestants can come in, compete in one bracket or the other. We have 7 total brackets, and compete in 2 performances. And if they advance out of those one of those brackets into the wild card or the semis, they know when they're coming back to compete. And then obviously the finals is on the last day of the show. But to me, it's much easier to follow. It has more of a sporting feel, which obviously folks, a lot of folks are big sports fans, watch football, basketball. And so it kind of resonates a little bit better with some of the non-rodeo fans. They can get behind that tournament style format, and it makes it just a little bit more entertaining and easier to follow. And the idea is that, hopefully they want to come back and buy a ticket. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, the ticket buyers, the sponsors, all those folks pay the bills. And so anything that we can do to help those folks understand, possibly develop a new fan in rodeo, we're going to try and do. And again, back to adding the breakaway, we just felt like that would bring in another ladies event for little girls to watch and hopefully emulate you ladies that come in and are so respectful and so great to deal with and so comfortable with the attendees. We want to give little girls that are watching rodeo, and maybe not even little girls, any ladies, something to emulate and a possibility to, something to get involved in and get behind. And the quickness of the event and speed and all that stuff is just a great add. And so we're very fortunate to have all of y'all competing in Fort Worth.
Well, and I want to share just a little bit from an athlete perspective. Last year it was raining. The parking in any kind of facility like that is always a challenge because we have big rigs and we have horses. It's usually on pavement. Y'all do one of the best jobs of that. They literally have vans out there waiting to pick us up. It was freezing cold. I dropped my horse off. She was in the barn. She was warm and taken care of. Went across the street and parked. Then somebody came and picked me up while it was raining, drove me all the way back down in this really comfy car, had my seat heater on, which is like hallelujah for me. and then drop me right off at the front door to go and eat a full course meal and then get to watch as they competed. I will say about your screen, when you literally ride in the back of the box, and I'm so glad my horse isn't green because that thing is bright, man. It is like, whew, you walk in the back of the box and you see the screen, and it's just, the atmosphere is electric. But one of my favorite parts of y'all's rodeo is really the fan zone. So after we rope and compete, we get to go up and go to the Whataburger fan zone. And I think it's so cool to see the fans of rodeo, and I'm partial obviously to the little girls and the youth and coming up in our sport, but they don't know what a cowgirl is, maybe, or maybe some of them do, and they're like, oh, I can't wait to see so and so over here. Like, that's just a really neat experience, and to get to connect with those people, because at the end of the day, we're all the same people, right? We put our pants on the same way, and so to get to connect with the fans is something that I really love that you guys offer that opportunity. So from your perspective, Cal, like, what are we getting feedback from the fans as adding this other women's event and getting Breakaway in there? Has it grown the fan base any? Can we measure that or track that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's not really a way to measure or track whether or not a fan attends our rodeo performance based on a single event. But I can tell you the feedback from the local community and the people that come and attend our event has been phenomenal. And obviously that first year it came in, people they really got behind it. We're very excited about it. And we just had a lot of great feedback. And so obviously it's a big hit here in Fort Worth. And again, back to the speed of the event, it's just amazing that y'all can rope those calves so fast. And the other thing is, in today's society, we have to be very cognizant of animal welfare issues. And the Breakaway is an event that we added, obviously, that when y'all rope that calf, that rope breaks off the calf, and the calf runs down the arena, and we're out of that event. So it's
Fast and Furious.
Yeah, it's a good feel all the way around. Everybody can get behind that, a non-rodeo fan especially. So anyway, we're very fortunate, again, like I said, to have you ladies competing here in Fort Worth.
As a committee looking in on breakaway roping, breakaway ropers, what can we do better that will help y'all or help your rodeo and help the production as far as breakaway ropers go?
From our standpoint, you ladies just keep showing up, doing your deal, and roping fast. And to us, y'all are one of the best events of contestants that we work with. As I mentioned, everybody's always very respectful. I have no suggestions. Y'all just keep showing up and being awesome.
I would agree. Y'all have done a great job, and we've really loved working with y'all. And we've all had a lot of great people from y'all's group speak public speaking for us and advocate for the rodeo industry as a whole. And so I think just keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully time will get us there.
Well, I appreciate you guys for joining us today. I know your time is very valuable, so thank you. I cannot wait to see you guys. Hopefully, I'll see you both over there at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. Have a great rodeo, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good day.